we've got a pretty scary story coming out of Brazil. As you guys know, Brazil just recently elected fascist president Jair Bolsonaro, and he's somebody who is a vehement homophobe. I believe the quote that he said was something like, he would rather have a dead son than a gay one, or something like that. It's insane. And of course, Dave Rubin supports him, which is the, craziest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But this is really looking bad. So first of all, what I think Brazil's going to end up being is going to be kind of similar to something like what happened in Chile after Allende was overthrown. That's what it seems like it's going through, because I believe he's opening up the Amazons to kind of be raided by all these corporate interests. And I saw that the stock market was rising. And I think I also saw there was some rich person with Bolsonaro. And so what it looks like is going to happen is basically there's going to be massive wealth inequality in Brazil. And people are going to be under this fake idea that basically the economy is benefiting because the stock market is rising. Like, I saw someone send that to Glenn Greenwald on Twitter, and then he responded by saying, "Hey, doofus, the stock market is not an indicator of the economy for normal people. That's just for the rich." So that's what it looks like it's going to turn into. This guy's that's fascism for you, dude. I mean, a huge embracement of capitalism and just authoritarian regime. That's what it is. So here's what's happened. It says Brazil's sole openly gay congressman leaves country after death threats. It says, this from The Guardian, it says, Brazil's first and openly gay congressman has announced that he is leaving his job and the country after receiving death threats. In a newspaper interview on Thursday, Gene Wiles, I don't know how to say that, I'm really sorry, said he was currently outside of Brazil and had no plans to return after a growing number of threats over the past year. Wiles, who was re-elected in October and had been set to begin a third term in February, was a close friend of Marielle Franco, the gay Rio councilwoman who was shot and killed along with her driver in March. His departure is likely to add to fears among Brazil's LGBT community that homophobia is set to rise even further under the government of President Jair Bolsonaro, who has won notoriety for his overt homophobia. And it says in the interview, he said his decision to leave wasn't because of Bolsonaro's rise, but rather the climate of heated rhetoric and intensifying violence toward members of the LGBT community in the wake of last year's heated election campaign. So this is just, and I think he goes on to say, like, why would I want to live in the next 4 years inside of a, armed barricade or whatever. So there's no way to blame this guy for leaving. Recall that even Bolsonaro was stabbed, and I don't even think he was able to give the speech in some publics where he had to do it from home or hospital bed or whatever, because he's still recovering. Brazil is just in shambles, and so the crime rates are insane there right now. So with the adding of the homophobia and just anti-LGBT community rhetoric that's going on, it totally makes sense. And again, remember, the councilwoman was shot and killed in her car. So this is insane, man. This is really insane. And someone I'm worried for is Glenn Greenwald, because apparently he actually lives in Brazil. Now, not only is he, part of the LGBT community, he's also a heavy dissident of Bolsonaro. And actually, before I get to that, let me throw this in too. Bolsonaro on Twitter sent out a bunch of tweets with just thumbs up emojis, and I think someone else associated to him said, "Oh, have fun outside of Brazil," or whatever. Just disgusting behavior that should be condemned by anybody with two brain cells to rub together. Although I don't see that happening. I don't see Dave Rubin or whoever supported Bolsonaro, which a lot of conservatives did and still do. And Glenn Greenwald, as we know, obviously political dissidents in terms of the press and anybody who's just in opposition, that doesn't really end well under fascist regimes. I mean, you could look back just at Chile and what they did. dude, this is not a good situation even in the slightest. Um, and again, you can't blame the guy for leaving. It's literally impossible to blame him, and it just sets a really bad precedent, man. I'm worried for what's gonna happen in Brazil. It's really not looking good right now, and oof, it is going to be really heating up there.